When I was an adult, I would think it was just a funny story, and I guess I do now think it's a funny story. But I was still upset, and my dad, he said, "Look, I'll do the story tonight, Leon. I'm not going to do Roald Dahl because it's a bit too cruel, isn't it, after what your brother said to you? I'll tell you what, look at this." He went to the curtains and he opened the window. And there the cool night air came in and the moon was hanging there, big and bright. He said, "I'm going to tell you a story about that." And I looked up at him and he said, "A long time ago, there was a town, and in this town the people were happy. They would gather together to share stories and drinks, and there were farmers and there were lawyers and there were doctors, and people were born and people died. But it was a thriving town, except," he said, "there was this one problem. When the sun sank down, a shadow came across the sky, no moon, no stars. And it was so dark that the people, they would go inside their houses, shut the doors and stay there. You might think," said my father, "you might think that maybe it will be bad because the highwaymen would do their robberies, or maybe the bogles and the boggarts would come out at night and get people. But it was worse than that. It was so dark that the people, when they came out, would just fall over, bang their heads. So they didn't even bother. They stayed in all the time. It was as if life ended when the sun went down." "Oh, I like the sound of that," the barman, moving some empty glasses away. But this one day, these four men, they left the town and they went further than anybody had ever been. And they came to the outskirts of another town just as the sun was setting, and they didn't know what to do. And so they huddled together, holding their knees, knowing that if they moved, they would fall over and damage themselves. And the sun went down, bleeding out across the land. But miracle of miracles, there, a silver ball hanging above the town. And they could see their hands and they could see their feet, and they turned around and they started to dance for joy. "Oh, what is this? What is it?" And then they heard somebody out at night, unheard of. A farmer on a donkey carrying a basket. "Why are you out?" "Strangers, there are fine inns in the town. Go and find one to stay in. Have yourself a drink. You shouldn't be out here in the cold." "Oh, thank you, sir. You're absolutely right. We will do that. But first of all, what is that?" "Ah," said the farmer, that is our moon. We are very, very proud of this. Our mayor, he went a long, long journey some years ago, and he came back with this, and he hung the moon in an oak tree in his garden. And every week he fills it with oil, he polishes it, and we pay him $1 every single week. And we are very happy to do it. Our moon makes us proud and happy. I'll be on my way. Find somewhere to stay," he said. And off he went on his donkey. And the four men, they put their heads together. And they were not bad men, they were not thieves by nature, but they knew that their town needed this. One of them said he would fetch a rope. One of them a barrow. One of them a tarpaulin. One of them just happened to have a drill in his pocket. I've no idea why. And they snuck into the town and they went through the shadows and they came to the mayor's garden. In through the hedge. One of them up to the moon. Drilled a hole in it, put the rope through, dragged it down onto the cart, tarpaulin over, and they took it back home. And when they got home, one of the men, he put it up in the oak tree in his own garden, and there it shone out. And the people, they came and they, "Oh, what is this?" The elves in the fields in their little red jackets came and danced under its light. The dwarves came up from the mountains to genuflect before it. And from that day on, you can imagine that their lives changed. No more going to bed at 9 o'clock. They stayed out carousing and courting. "What's courting, Dad? I'll tell you at some point," he said. And it was such a fantastic thing for them that they paid the men $1 every week, and they looked after it in turn. Each week one would go up and they would polish it and they would fill it with oil and then it would come down and the next week the next one, the next week the next. But gradually they stayed up there a bit longer, polishing it, its seductive light playing on their features. Oh, Mooney, oh, you are so precious to me. Sometimes if one of the other men came up when it was not his turn, there would almost be a fight. You get down, you are next week. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And so it went on until one of the men grew ill and he knew that he was getting to the end of his life and he called the lawyer to make sure that his wife and children were going to be looked after. And he was lying there in his sick bed and he thought, there's something I haven't done. There is something I need. Ah, yes, yes. And he made the lawyer write into his will that when he died, oh, bugger. I can't remember. And Leon took a swig. I told you I'd forget it. Always. And there was the barman. Coffins. Sorry? Coffins. And he turned and he went, oh, thank you. Yeah. He said that when he died, he wanted a quarter of the moon cut off and put in the coffin with him so that it would be with him forever. And the people in the town, they didn't like this, but they couldn't have any say in it because legally that was right. And there were still 3 quarters left. But when the next man died and did the same, and the next, of course, the town was once again plunged into darkness. And when night came, that was it. But down in the land of the dead, it was a very different story. Because the moon, it reformed itself and it hung shining. And the dead that had been asleep for so long, they stretched and they blinked their eyes and they came out of their coffins looking up at this in the sky. And because they'd been dead for a long time, they had a real thirst. And so they went to the local hostelries and they ordered drinks and they drank it. And because they weren't used to it, it went to their heads and they started to play poker and they started to argue and they started to fight. And they got their sticks and walloped each other with it. And there was a great racket in the land of the dead. And it went up higher and higher and higher and higher until it came to the ears of St. Peter, there by the pearly gates. And St. Peter heard this and he thought it was the devil coming, forming some kind of revolution. And so he called the heavenly host who went roaring down to fight Beelzebub. But Beelzebub was not there. Instead, just a load of drunken corpses staggering around. Hey, who are you? Matlock on a Saturday night? No. Hey! No! You brutes! Get back in your coffin! Shouted St. Peter. Oh, sorry, St. Peter. Oh, it didn't mean anything by it. You get back! You're supposed to be dead and quiet. Okay, go in now, St. Peter. Gonna lie down. And they did. They were terrified of St. Peter. And they lay down, back in their coffins, getting ready to go back to sleep again. And then one of them put his hand up. St. Peter, what is it? It's a bit bright up there. Oh! And St. Peter looked up. Don't quite know why he hadn't seen it before, but he had, stay with the story. He looked up and there, he said, oh, of course. And he took the moon and he flew back up. Back to the heavens, and he hung it there so that the humans couldn't interfere with it anymore. And just because he wanted to keep humans on the toes, he would take a big pair of heavenly scissors and he would cut a bit off every now and again and shove it in a special cupboard that had a kind of light ceiling box, and then a bit more and a bit more, and then he'd bang it all back together again because he wanted to show everyone who was in charge. And my dad said, that's how it was. But down in the land of the dead, it's just as dark as it ever was. That's right, the barman back. I remember. It was like a blooming glitter ball. Fun times. And he shuffled off, leaving the 3 companions staring at each other. Thank you, the pinstripe man. I really, really like that story. Hurry up, please, it's time. Are you going, Rita? No, I like it. I'm going to stay. How about you, Leon? Oh, no, I've got plenty more stories, but I think I do need a drink. And he stood up and he saw a man walking to the door, open, wait, out again. And he came to the bar and he looked at the gaunt barman. I think I'd like another drink. Is it okay? Of course. Which one would you like? What's that one? Ah, Oblivion. Oh no, I think I'll have another pint of the Remembrance and one for Rita and whatever he's having too. Are you sure? We can stay, can we? Of course you can, said the gaunt barman. You can stay as long as you like. Keep drinking, keep sharing your stories, keep laughing together. After all, what else is there? And I am going to just take a step away now, and I'm going to leave Leon and Rita and the man in the pinstripe suit and the gaunt barman and all of those other souls in that pub drinking together. And I don't know if that place exists. It's very real in my head, and I hope it has been for you this evening. But what I do know is that we are here tonight together at the Matlock Storytelling Cafe. And before I finish, I would just say, let us keep sharing a drink, sharing our company, and sharing our stories. Because to echo the words of the gaunt barman, perhaps, what else is there? Last orders, one for the road. Cheers!
I think I can safely say that Mike only put that set together so that he could drink while he's working. He does enjoy a good pint, and I've enjoyed a good drink. I actually had a drink whilst I was sitting there as well in that virtual pub, in that liminal space between these worlds, which is where we sit at the moment. But we're going to cast you out. It's like, I feel like Sue Lawley all of a sudden. We're going to cast you out into that world out there. And I haven't seen the moon for a while. It's been so dark and at night. But may the moonlight guide you home. And we hope to see you again in December. But before we go, please give a round of applause to all our tellers tonight, and for Mike particularly. We'll see you next month for Daniel Morden. Thank you very much.